Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Friday, February 16th, 2018 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I show up fully in my yin galactivated vibration. I think I reversed all of the words in that. Let me try it again. I show up in my fully galactivated yin vibration. There we go. And that is what we want to do today. Today's astro is pretty interesting. We just came off of the second solar eclipse, and I want to remind you, so hopefully the energies are simmering down and settling because the build up to this was so electrical. But we're not quite done with the electrical energies. As we finish up over the next few days of the Sun in Aquarius and Mercury in Aquarius, and the Sun and Mercury come together in Aquarius, we still have super high vibrational energy that we have to work with. At the same time, we have a few softer flowing energies working us with the Moon in Pisces and Venus in Pisces, and the Moon and Venus and Neptune all working together in Pisces. And the combination is a really interesting dynamic. And I'm actually going to start with the card, the Sacred Activation, Galactivation card, because I feel like what they said in the dynamic card is really perfect for how we want to balance these energies, how we want to yin these energies as we connect to consciousness and that underlying intuitive flow and work them both at the same time. The frequency of dynamic supports our ability to harmonize between layers and aspects of different origin and frequency. It helps us to put together a reality that is made up of different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. The word dynamic can be described as an energetic force or process that is constantly changing. When we talk about the dynamics of something, we refer to the way it works or interacts. Now we add the words vibrant and full of life, and we have a perfect description of what dynamic entails in the new energy. The triangle shape and color of this activation refer to the masculine aspect, which is full of direction, power, and presence, the yang. And the circular shapes refer to the infinite and flowing aspect of the feminine, the yin, while representing the mechanism of the dynamic process, one that brings together dynamic aspects, or different aspects, harmonizes them, and makes them work together. The result is a process that is alive with energy, movement, color, and change. Just by witnessing this process, one automatically becomes part of it, as nothing that is witnessed remains unaffected. So, this right now is kind of the energy that we've got going on as the moon makes several connections throughout the day. But then we have the Mars energy in Sagittarius feeding into play, and then we have the really strong electrical mental energies of sorry, Mahalo's getting into mischief and I see it and I'm like, the really strong electrical and mental energies of the Aquarius stuff still going on. The moon is kind of dominating the connections throughout the day, with 4 connections being made between Moon and Pisces and other energies. So we're going to get into that. Again, Moon and Pisces always tunes us into our intuition. Moon and Pisces gives us that opportunity to tune into something deeper. It gives us the opportunity to tune into the miraculous, to the esoteric, to things that we don't see. And I think Aquarius also gives us that opportunity to tune into things unseen, but it's a different vibration of it, and it's definitely less mental. It's more perceived, known, felt, experienced, sensed than the Aquarian vibration. So the moon is going to begin by connecting to Saturn. So part of your work is balancing, this is 6 degrees, balancing your responsibility to the physical, but also to the metaphysical. And if you remember, I said in yesterday's scope, what was it exactly? Use your illusion. Part of your responsibility is your responsibility to the spiritual, which it's not as easy because we've been so trained to think of it as something like an illusion, and so trained to think of it as something that may be true, may not be true. I don't know if I should listen to my intuition. I'm not really trained to listen to my intuition. Okay, if I just follow this path that's already been laid out, then I'm going to be okay. That's all shifting. And so we have to really find our balance and start the balance by starting to listen to the esoteric, to the intuition thing. I brought this example in yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. You know, we get so caught up in what we claim to be reality, which is also, again, perceived realities. It is illusions. But because it makes more sense to us, it becomes something that's real versus, you know, the intuition, the miraculous, the mystical, which it couldn't possibly be real because we don't have that evidence yet for it in our experience. But that doesn't make it any less real. So this is where you get to shift your experience. It's where you get to bring in the dynamic energy. The moon then goes and meets up with Venus. So this is a very yin connection, the moon and Venus, and this is at 7 degrees. So that is that degree of honoring your flow, honoring your intuition, listening to the feminine, the yin, the Shakti energy, the intuition rising from you, paying worth to that energy and knowing it has stuff for you in and through that. But what's interesting is that the next lunar connection is one with Mars. Mars is at 13 degrees in Sagittarius. 13 degrees, revolution, evolution. Now, what's interesting about this Mars energy is that Mars is zooming in to meet up with Vesta. So Vesta is representing the yin in this connection and is hopefully pacing the Mars energy. Now, what's interesting, this is coming up. I'm doing past life intensive readings for people who signed up. And one of the things that's come up quite a bit is the idea around spiritual ego. And sometimes that's one of the patternings that the young can have. So even when we think we're diving into the yin energies, the yin waters of the esoteric, we're bringing that patriarchal sense with us. Vesta is like, hey, we have to tune in to the soul within, the fire within. Vesta is the keeper of the holy flame. The holy flame is you. You are the temple. And so with this connection between the moon and Mars, really be vigilant about your process. And if you may need a little revolution around any spiritual ego that may be kicking up its heels at this moment, just a little bit of shift may help you. Now, what's also interesting is that Mars is building into a connection with Neptune, as is the moon. I have a sneeze coming. Either come or go away. Make up your mind. It's like a cat. Okay, I don't think it's going to come through. Whew. Okay, so like I said, the moon is going to be connecting with Neptune, but tomorrow Mars and Neptune are going to be squaring off. And so I think this may be unveiling for you some places where the truth has been obscured by the patriarchal, by that young energy, and there is this chance to make this shift in it. So be very vigilant, and at the same time, be very vigilant to your soul. Be very vigilant to your personal spiritual process in this. The evening of the 16th. What time does that connection happen at? Yeah, 8:31 p.m. Pacific time. So the evening of the 16th is a really great time to meditate and to let some higher truths trickle into you. The last thing I want to mention, these hand gestures, is that the sun is building into a connection with Mercury tomorrow as well as that connection between Mars and Neptune. So your mental energy is still amplified, like I said, and so that may be part of the process that you have to sort through. A lot of times, how do I say this? A lot of times, one of the best tools for the ego is getting the mind to believe it. So we need to be really vigilant about what is influencing our mind and be fully galactivated in our yin vibration, that balanced vibration, in order to move through this, really in that state and flow of trust. And remember, we just had this eclipse, all the lessons that I brought through, the process of fear to love, the process of sinking in to rise up. This all still applies as we are still in this energy. Even though it ended, we're still in the energy over the next little bit. You know, I'd say it lasts longer than 3 days, but especially for the next 3 days, and especially until we shift into Pisces on Sunday, we are definitely still going to be feeling these vibrations. So be very aware of that. All right, so what are our words are hard. What are our cards? Totality. Be here now. Be in this moment so that you can catch on what's swinging in front of you. This will help you get beyond the illusions. This will help you get past any of this spiritual ego energy that may just be surfacing, that needs just a little nip in the bud. And let me just say, this is a process that everybody goes through, and it's not a bad thing. It's just another process of awareness, being aware where we've done that to ourselves. Be understanding in and through your process, and notice again when that process comes up. A lot of times the ego process, the reason why it gets the mind to agree with it so easily is because it's trying to protect us. So the mind's like, that makes sense, that's going to protect you, let's lock that down. So be understanding about your process from it. I do have the celebration card in reverse. So like I said, I think we have to get a little bit more in touch with the yin to allow these energies to flow. So when you start getting overly mental, remember your yin, do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. Okay, the final card is the source card. And to me, this is coming into our full yin dynamic, galactivated dynamic. I don't know where galactivated came from, but that was like so strong, needed to be in the energy mantra. The fully galactivated yin vibration. This to me, yin, not yin. It is yin and yang, by the way. This is that. That's where pure creation comes from. That is source. That's where we want to be. And I think we have that potential if we can utilize these energies and really balance the flow with all the consciousness that's going on. So, that being said, that is it for today. Go book a reading. Join my Past Lives Intensive group. What I have decided to do is I'm not raising the price of entering the group. I'm just raising the price of getting the reading done with it, because I find that I'm putting a lot into them and I'm having some really interesting stuff come up. So if you'd like to do that, you can find that at GaiaBlooming.com. And I want to remind you, the better it gets, the better it gets. And there is enough love in the world for you. I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.